Welcome to the first of a new anime review series. This time I'm reviewing the series Is It Wrong? Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. Yes, that is seriously the name of this series. And like a few other series I've watched based on light novels, it's basically features adventurers, which you gotta love this stuff. But like Goblin Slayer, this one does not have a backlash against it because of the opening episode. I know Goblin Slayer did, because the fact it had its opening scene featured a rape. Yeah, but that was not a problem with me at all. It was fine because it was part of the series. And like I explained basically when I did my last review for it happened in the original light novel. Don't blame the anime for doing that. They're basically probably adapting what they saw in the light novel. They probably thought it would be good for the series. Okay? Moving on here to this particular series. Now, the light novel series this one's based upon, unlike Goblin Slayer, which is only about 10, 12 books, this series is, believe it or not, 15 books, which is one of the more longer series I basically have encountered. I've read the first 8, and for 3 episodes, it only covers the first book of the series. Now, we'll get used to some characters here. You have the main character, Belle Kramer, voiced by an actor I've never heard in any work besides this one. Voiced by Branson Burgess. This is in the English dub. You have his goddess. Yeah, they have goddesses in this series. Instead of having guilds, like special parties, they have goddesses they work for. And one Belle works for, his name is Thea, smoking hot woman. And she's voiced by the ever awesome Lucia Christian. She's probably by far the only voice actress who appears this entire ones I've seen so far. She's the only I actually, 1, have heard of, and 2, I've seen more than 1 or 2 series with them in it. Yep, great character, and I've read a lot. Her look is very much replicated a lot by cosplay. We also have Ice Weinstein. That's how you pronounce her last name. Ice Willestein. Yeah, name sounds kind of German. Here's the thing about this woman: the main character's in love with her. Yep, he's in love with her. And when I've read at the beginning, basically he's very nervous around her because of how much he has feelings for her. And at first he wants to know all about her, basically, when he first starts out. Of course, he teaches the other goddesses as well. I'll get to him. The first episode starts out basically running away from a minotaur of all things. Yes, a minotaur. Yeah, it's also revealed that Ice's group basically is indirectly responsible for endangering him. Of course, he's saved by Ice, and he instantly falls in love with her. And he wants to know all about her. And the fact he survived, he basically took a few jewels back. He's like, okay. And he goes home to his goddess. And apparently they stay in an abandoned church of all things. Yes, that is apparently their home, an abandoned church. Don't worry, they're not here for very long because they actually do much more, let's just say much more better based operations. And for the first off, basically, that the group, it just consists of Hestia and Belle. The group goes larger as time goes on in the series, but this is just the start of it. And of course, she's very happy to see him. And here's something interesting, though, that they do differently for Goblin Slayer. They actually check the people's levels and stats. And from this last experience, went up a little bit, not by much. And throughout the course of these episodes, he's trying to get his stats to go up tremendously because he's madly in love with a sword woman. Yep. Of course, Hibissa basically just tends to doubt on him. And she does deeply care about him. And it's implied she might be in love with him. And here's kind of the thing. It's one of those series where you have more than one woman in love with the main character. And here's the thing. Guess how many women are actually in love with the main character? You want to know how many? There are 3. You have the goddess. You have someone who works at the guild. Yeah, it's implied she hasn't got a crush on him. And a barmaid. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. Yeah, that's kind of the thing with some anime I've watched where the main character is attracted to multiple women despite the fact he wants one who's not them. Yep, so he pretty much spends his time boosting up his stats, and of course she's getting kind of worried about him. And one point he goes to a pub, because he gets invited to the pub, come back to his adventure, and he basically has a bunch of food. And then when he sees Ice and her group, of course, it's reduced to Loki. Yes, Loki. And everybody thinking, wait, Loki? You mean the God of Mischief? It is. She is, but she's voiced by Christine Kelly. I've heard her in a couple different series. One was the last series I watched, which was My Girlfriend's Still a Virgin, and The Common Got Killed. Oh yeah, and she's got a reputation for being flat-chested. Yep. She's been poked fun of that a lot throughout the series. Yep, I just part of a group as well, along with these film people. I think they all some of them do appear in the first book, but not all of them. But a good chunk of them do. You also have Freya. Mm-hmm. She appears in like a couple episodes. She doesn't do very much. You have Aristophanes, who is a forger. Yeah, this is basically named after the one from Greek mythology, though it's usually picked as a guy. This one's a girl who basically, before something happens in episode 3, she asks her to make a special weapon for Belle. He's like, okay, but you owe me big time for this afterwards. And makes a very special knife for him because his specialty is knives. Mm-hmm. And bakes a black blade that she makes herself because why not? She is a forger. There's nothing. Of course, they explain apparently the gods came down from the heavens and basically they kind of limit basically blessings. But since Aristophanes is a forger, this is perfectly fine because it's basically not using their actual powers because they have sort of a limiter of basically how much of the powers they can actually use. Oh, and also, here's something between Loki and Hysteria. Yeah, it's like Loki is taller than Hysteria. Hysteria's got a bigger chest than she does. Yeah, and these two fight a lot in the series. It is pretty much a recurring gag of how much these two fight. Oh, and also, Loki has this thing where she's a pervert, and she really loves to try to grope Ainz. Like, a lot. Unsuccessfully. She basically is so tempted by her. Like, she attempts to, like, grab her butt or her breast. But Ainz is, like, too quick for her, and she can't stand it. It's a recurring gag for the character, and she does it constantly. Mm-hmm. Yep. And Freya, of course, basically, when she appears for like one episode of these 3. You see her at a party all the rest of the goddesses are at. Gods and goddesses. There's one named Hermes. Yeah, Hermes, as in the messenger god from Greek mythology. He's here. Apparently, he spends a lot of time traveling. Yep. And yeah, and also when basically knowing after Ainz sees Ainz, he basically runs out without paying. Though he does come back next day and he does apologize for it. Luckily enough that the waitress has got a thing for him. She basically apologized ahead of time, and the owner does accept his apology for not paying and gives her a bag of money to pay for the food. It's like, okay, fine, I'll let you off this time, but don't do it again. Yep. Well, there was a good reason why he ran out, because he saw his crush. Yep, that's the reason why. And he's always running away from her. Yeah, that's actually a minor gag in the series for a while until their relationship gets more developed a little bit later. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens also in the spin-off book. Yeah, there's a spin-off series, this one, starring Ainz as the main character. I'll be doing this one next, basically, after I finish watching this series. Mm-hmm. Yep, and in episode 3, we have it where a particular goddess, I believe this is not Freya, it's one of the other ones. It is not that one, it's not Hermes. There's one basically who's also, let's see if I can find her here. Not Loki. There was one I saw here, basically. Yeah, Istar. Yeah, she appears in here. She doesn't really. Yeah, she's seen causing a bunch of mischief in episode 3 by unleashing a bunch of monsters in the city. But lucky enough that Belle, one of these monsters went after Belle and Hysteria. Yeah, well, Belle was at this festival trying to get the waitress back her wallet because she forgot her wallet, and runs into the goddess. This is of course the same time he has her knife, and then, of course the monster comes after him. Lucky enough, he actually, even though he's good at running away, he at least brought her. He at least brought to the monster's area where there's not a lot of people around, and even though it does cause some damage, but At least he's considered the fact also casualties and all this. Eventually, thanks to his Historia, well, first he has his Historia basically go away to keep her safe. But she comes back, gives him the knife, and then uses it on the giant gorilla. And, well, because that's what this is, basically a giant white gorilla. And he takes out, well, first it destroys his original knife, and uses a new knife, and he would take out pretty easily and gets a pretty big stone out of it. Iron takes a good chunk of the monsters, and despite the fact that he took on this one monster because he basically took on a really big one, he's basically sort of like a new celebrity here, and everybody's basically watching the guy's potential because of how fast he's growing. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for these 3 episodes. Yep. Stay tuned for part 2, which I'm going to cover, well, next, and then I'm going to do One Piece. Okay? One Piece and Boruto. Yep. And of course, I'm going to do some manga reviews today, okay? See you next video. Bye.